It's News Talk.
Very welcome along, everyone. It's another Off the Ball show for you. It's snowy out there. There is a chill in the air, so put your feet up in front of the fire. Snuggle in with us for the evening. We're going to bring you Joe Schmidt's thoughts from earlier today. He was at the Aviva Stadium. There was an open training session. We will have Irish distance runner Marcus O'Sullivan on the show. 4 times an Olympian, 3 times an indoor world champion in the 1500 metres. And this month is the 20-year anniversary of over 100 sub-4 minute miles. And now the head coach of Villanova, he'll join us via Skype. That's on the way around 8 o'clock or so, just before. Sid Lowe as well. 1998 was when Real Madrid won their first Champions League title in 32 years. We'll remember that with Sid Lowe. And Alan Shipnuck talks Tiger Woods. So that is all on the way this evening. Paddy Agnew as well on the football show. We have Richie McCormick as ever. Hello, Richie.
The one thing that tainted that Real Madrid victory in 1998 over Juventus at the Amsterdam Arena was the pre-match show, which was conducted by Boyzone.
No.
I don't remember that.
You're kidding.
I'm not making that up. That is 100% fact.
Well, JP, I'm just thinking out loud here. But if we really want to give a complete view of this magnificent win for Real Madrid and do the piece of nostalgia justice,
Whatever about Predrag Mijatovic, get Ronan Keaton in there.
try and get Ronan or Keith on the line. Is that possible?
Keith would definitely take a phone call. And I've no doubt that JP has Keith's phone number as well.
Yeah.
Well, I've no doubt. I've no doubt that some of the boys will be listening and just get in touch.
If any of them are listening, we would love to have you on.
If you're in close proximity to a member of Boyzone, give them a dig in the ribs and say we need them.
Yeah. Tell them we're doing a piece on 1998 with Sid Lowe, Real Madrid's Champions League win, and we think having one of the lads from Boyzone on to remember, to give us their memories of the night would be just phenomenal. We're literally begging. Dave McIntyre is also here. Hello.
Evening.
Guns,
very quick.
Guns as good as ever.
It's too cold for the guns.
It's
Put them away. No, you see, the measure is, Joe, if there's another athlete in a room, if there's a rugby player, if there's somebody else who's actually a sports person, Dave will whip out the guns.
I've noticed that. I saw Dave recently beside Brian O'Driscoll, and you had the elbows out and the arms.
Are you accusing me of
nicely held?
flexing in mid-interview?
Not flexing, but not flexing.
Because that would be a seriously derogatory accusation.
At least demonstrating.
I actually thought you compared very well in this particular video to Brian O'Driscoll, and he's in good shape.
Right, okay.
He's on it at the moment.
I'll take that.
You know, it's a massive compliment. So you're here for the evening.
I'm here for the duration. I'm very much looking forward to it.
Okay. Well, fingers crossed, on the football show we'll have Sid Lowe, a member of Boyzone, and Paddy Agnew.
Yeah. And what a boy band in itself that would be.
Well, and Marcus O'Sullivan is an amazing fella, really. Probably underappreciated in this country because he went to Villanova at 19 from Cork.
He was a legend.
Effectively hasn't come back. And we just saw Carl Dennehy in the Irish Examiner did a great interview with him this month. So like a big hat tip to Carl Dennehy's piece, which you should read on the Irish Examiner. It's still up on the website, where it's 20 years since O'Sullivan ran his 100th sub 4 minute mile. You kind of think to yourself, that sounds pretty impressive. 100 sub 4 minute miles in competition, obviously training. Yeah. Training doesn't count as like a 147 in snooker. But we're thinking, well, I wonder how many people have done that. 3, including O'Sullivan. So you're talking an unbelievable achievement. Steve Scott from USA has 137 sub 4 minute miles. John Walker from New Zealand, now a politician we think, is on 127, and Marcus O'Sullivan is 101. The reason he ran the extra one is sometimes these are contested. Maybe there's a wind factor or various conditions which don't meet certain criteria. So he did the 101 just to be safe. But he decided when he was around 31, 32, he was about to retire. And he was looking through his diary and realised he'd done 60 of them, and just thought to himself, will I? And spent the next 5-6 years. Took him 5-6 years to do it.
Right.
So and like an amazing achievement to go along with 4 Olympic Games and 3 World Championships, 1500 metres, like world champion. So and 6 Wanamaker miles. You know, proper legend. Now head of Villanova.
I remember winning
years.
his World Indoor Championships vividly. I remember, was it Frank O'Mara?
Frank O'Mara, yeah.
Was another one of his peers, and their achievements of winning gold medals on the world stage, they're never really recognised. But a lot of our younger listeners wouldn't really appreciate the significance of the 4 minute mile, whether it was Roger Bannister's 4 minute mile, whether it's Marcus O'Sullivan running 100 of them, whether it was Eamon Coughlin becoming the first 40-plus-year-old to run a 4 minute mile. These were all major milestones in Irish track and field history, but completely would have passed by an awful lot of casual sports fans in particular. Yeah,
the one of the aspects that made him chasing the extra 40 he needed quite difficult is the mile went very much out of fashion.
Yeah.
So official.
Tabulated to 1,500 metres, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
You needed almost an exhibition event just to be able to
Kind
clock
of.
up a mile.
Like he flew to Hong Kong at one point just to do it.
Yeah.
From Villanova and back again the next day. It was that tricky to get
And
it done.
Coughlin's one was an exhibition. He was just the only man running.
Right.
He just was doing the laps of the track on his own. So, which is very difficult. You've no pacemaker. You've got no one to measure yourself by.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried to clock yourself and run a mile as fast as you could?
Well, here's the thing.
4 minutes is off the
Scary
charts.
stuff. I do the goal mile at Christmas. Admittedly, you might be out for a few drinks the night before, and you haven't lived your best life in the 10 days in the build up to Christmas. Okay, that's a factor, but probably only a small factor. This year, I was pretty fit. I felt in 2017. I thought I'm gonna blitz my two brothers in the goal mile just to feel good. You know, two younger brothers. I'm gonna destroy them, and I think I'm getting a pretty good time here. It's like 7 minutes something. And honestly, as I was sprinting up the closing 200 metres, I thought, I'm on here for something good.
I might actually break 4 minutes here.
It's something good, wait.
Watch out, Roger Bannister, I'm coming.
Some dude with a stopwatch, 7:10. I was like, what? Have I run 2 miles?
4 is unthinkable.
I just can't even imagine it. It's a sprint. Like, I don't know, could I sustain 4 minute mile pace?
Well, your
for
7 minute 10 was
300
probably
metres?
a sprint, a 7 minute 10 sprint.
It felt like it. I mean, I felt like I was pushing.
Yeah, you watch the 1,500 metres Olympic final and you watch the speed that they're going at for the entire race, and for us it's a full sprint.
Someone might text in, someone will know this actually, I'd be very curious, and I know a treadmill does a lot of the work for you, but what speed on a treadmill is 4 minute mile pace is something I would just ask a listener out there who'll know straight away.
4 minute K pace is 15.
On the treadmill?
Yeah.
Ah, stop.
So
Gee.
I don't know what you have to add on to the 15. Do you have to push it past 17.5? But 4 minutes, if you want to do a kilometre in 4 minutes on the treadmill, you need to be going at 15 from start to finish.
That's what a treadmill doing so much of the work for you. You just have to plant your foot in the bloody thing and it does the rest. So
Tell me about it.
What's a mile then? 16 something on the treadmill?
Yeah, so you're looking at 18, 19 off the top of my head for 4 minutes. It's unthinkable.
I mean, I've for the crack put the treadmill up to 15 or 16 and you look like a tool. Like, I mean,
You just have to put that aside, Joe. And
Can we
just,
get a treadmill in here?
I've looked like an absolute idiot many of the time, but you just do it.
doing your interval training.
No, just trying to beat such times on a treadmill.
Yeah. Jeez, that's
You
unbelievable.
make a fool of yourself, but look,
Because Marcus O'Sullivan came within a second of a sub 4 minute mile about 90 other times.
Yeah.
You know, it was never actually easy as such. And I think he broke the 4 minute mile plenty of times running the 1,500 metres, but that didn't count either.
Yeah.
So, God, that's unbelievable. Yeah.
But
I could
running
you sustain that
1,500
for a
metres
bit?
isn't even a mile.
Oh, that's a fair point.
So like
It's pointless. Maybe he was just on pace for it.
unless he ran the extra 180 metres
Maybe he
after he
did.
crossed the finishing line.
Just kept going.
I don't know. Like Forrest Gump. So how long on a treadmill could you sustain? Let's just say it's 17.
I don't know 17. I haven't tried 17, but I spent the last 2 years trying to break 20 minutes for 5k.
Me and you were too short to even think about sustaining that pace.
No, I could do. You do 17 for 40 seconds max.
I would have thought something like that, yeah.
But 15, if you want to break 20 minutes for 5k, it's 15 from start to finish. But the problem is, on a treadmill, as any of our runners who use them from time to time will know,
Yeah.
it takes you about 40 seconds to actually get up to 15. So you're chasing your time. You actually do have to go at 17 or 18 to get yourself back onto a 5 minute K.
It's also doing a lot of the work for you.
All right, spot the gym, bros.
I was broken anyway afterwards, whether it's doing the work for me or not. I'd imagine the likes of Marcus O'Sullivan would spit on a treadmill.
Oh,
Or
I'm
users
sure.
of treadmills.
I'm sure. I
Sure,
mean,
he's far too polite for that, Dave.
if you've ever, I mean, I used to do a lot of, I would just run on the treadmill and then occasionally you might run on the road.
Different
And
gravy.
it's a different ball game. Like there's muscles being worked which haven't been used in
Yeah.
too long.
Sounds like me getting out of bed.
Yeah. So Marcus O'Sullivan will join us maybe just before 8 o'clock. We've spoken to him already, but we're not actually live with Marcus O'Sullivan. It's well worth sticking around for. A very interesting man on a whole host of things, and the head coach at Villanova for the last 20 years. Now, just when Ireland's injury crisis couldn't get much worse, Richie McCormick.
Yeah, talk about unlucky 13. Chris Farrell unlikely to play for Ireland again in this season's Six Nations. The Munster centre suffered ligament damage after twisting his knee during Ireland's open training session at the Aviva this morning. Head coach Joe Schmidt must now choose whether to let Gary Ringrose get game time for Leinster against the Scarlets on Saturday, or avoid the risk of injury with Scotland on the horizon. Having missed the win over Wales, Schmidt says both Ian Henderson and Tyke Furlong should train fully next week ahead of the visit of Scotland. Conor Murray was restricted to running drills at the Aviva today, and Jonathan Sexton did some conditioning work after both picked up knocks against the Welsh. On the concession of 3 tries against Wales, Schmidt today defended his defence coach Andy Farrell and says the players didn't work to their plan.
No, look, I think Andy Farrell is world class, without a doubt. And I suppose, I'm maybe not the best person to judge that, but in my experience working with him, and I've worked with a whole lot of other people, I think he's world class, and I think he's got the absolute confidence of our group, because they can see that the system works. We've just got to make sure we apply it at the right time in the right place, with the right people doing the same thing. I think if you look back at the game, sometimes one guy's doing this and one guy's doing that, and there were very clear images that people know what we should be doing, and I think some of that is exuberance and somebody trying to make sure that they're contributing in a positive manner. But any enthusiasm has to be tempered with just intelligence on the pitch, because teams are too good. You don't fly out at Heavy Parks or Scott Williams and expect them to feel ruffled. They're going to say, welcome, I'm going to manipulate you now and make something of this for my team. And I think there's some learning experiences there. Do we have to learn quickly? Absolutely, because we can't afford to keep conceding 3 tries a game. And he's doing a great job, not just with the team, but with individuals, trying to get them to understand pictures so that they make good decisions.
Very unlucky for Chris Farrell. We'll run you through a good chunk of what Joe Schmidt was saying today in about 15 minutes' time. Always, I think, actually underestimated in a press conference, Schmidt. When things are going well and he's in good form, he's very interesting on a host of subjects.
Today he was far looser and far more open than he has been during the course of this campaign. I don't know if it's given the proximity of the game with Scotland, but he was giving more.
I watched his full one just before the Wales game on the Wednesday or Thursday. I thought he was very good as well. Obviously there's the standoff at the moment over the not briefing the dailies, but I think when he's there, he's actually pretty good.
I'd say the review session, whether it was yesterday or today, was a nasty one for the Ireland backs in particular, and for the forwards that were beaten. For example, for the Gareth Davies try, I looked at it again today. Rory Best, I'd say, was squirming as he was watching the review of the Gareth Davies try, where he just fell off a terrible attempt at a tackle. I think it was on Shingler. And I'd say the positives of playing so well with the ball and winning the game in such dramatic fashion evaporates very quickly when you settle into a 45-minute film session where each individual defensive error is picked over by Andy Farrell, who must be tearing strips off them. If it is the case that the plan is in place, everyone's agreed that the plan is in place and they believe in the system, and Joe Schmidt telling us that some of the players just aren't working to the plan, well, I'd say Andy Farrell is not a nice guy to be around if you're these players at the moment.
I wouldn't think so. There's domestic action here down tonight.
There is indeed. Bohemians can go second in the embryonic SSE Airtricity Premier Division table tonight. A win for Bows at home to Derry will vault them above Waterford and Shamrock Rovers, who both won last night. Our Roisin is at Daleyman Park and he has some company.
Welcome to Daleyman Park, the home of Irish football. Bohemians have had an outstanding start to the season. A win against their old rival Shamrock Rovers here was followed by a draw away to Limerick. Tonight it's Derry City. It kicks off at 7:45. Keith Long, Bohemians manager. I guess you're just looking to keep going what you started.
Yeah, it would be nice to get another result here tonight against Derry. We haven't done particularly well against them in the last couple of seasons. Certainly since Kenny Shields has taken over as manager, we've lost all seven encounters between the two sides. So it'll be a good test for us tonight to see where we are in terms of our squad. But we're looking forward to it. Hopefully we can get the result that we're looking to achieve. But it'll be certainly difficult.
Keith, for now, thank you very much. It is Bows against Derry. It kicks off at 7:45.
Kevin Devaney comes into the Bows midfield for that one in place of Philip Gannon, who drops to the bench. Meanwhile, Jamie McDonough, Niall Logue and Darren Cole all come into the Derry setup. Elsewhere, Dundalk seeking a first win of the season. Limerick visiting Oriel Park tonight, and that also has a 7:45 start.
Eric says Olympic level marathon runners run at 20 kilometres per hour. Paul has done the maths here. I won't bore you with all the details, but it seems scientific enough to me. Kilometre 5/8 of a mile. He's done this. He's multiplied by this, and he says it's 24 on a treadmill.
No, oh my God!
Is that right, Paul?
Well, for a start...
JP's giving the thumbs up.
Oh, come on.
24 on a treadmill to run a 4-minute mile.
Well, we can never find that out because there are no machines built with a capacity to run a 24, as far as I know.
Well, I mean, how high have you gone up?
Well, you could also you could put your feet on either side and just keep pressing the button and see how far it goes.
Well, that's something for you to do the next time you're at the gym and report back.
24, well, like
That's misuse of equipment.
Incomprehensible.
That's a full-on sprint.
That's almost twice the speed that I was trying to run at to run 5-minute Ks.
Yeah.
4-minute Ks, sorry.
Yeah.
That's
Obscene.
unimaginable.
Unimaginable is the word, actually. It really is.
Well, it's definitely... Could you run at 24 for 10 seconds? Let alone 4 minutes.
I'm finding it hard to imagine it. I've gone up to 15 or 16. I don't want to say yeah because I know it'll be on an off-the-ball feature someday soon. It must be possible. I mean, I think we wouldn't be human if we couldn't. You know, we're able-bodied. We should be able to run even for 10 seconds at a 4-minute mile speed. No,
And it's at that point that it'll cut to you in a singlet and shorts standing by a treadmill.
Somebody wonders, is Richie on the Boys Own bombshell? Is Richie allowed in the production meetings, or did he want to drop the Boys Own knowledge live on air for a better reaction? Wonders Mike and Kerry.
They don't let me into them.
You're too busy.
I am too busy, to be fair. Yeah.
There is news to be brought right across today, but it's a hell of a reaction. I won't say who, but JP has called one member of Boys Own. He did have a number, which, you know,
Of course he did.
is impressive.
Speed dial 1.
Yeah. So, where are we going next?
The path to the Champions League group stages will be even narrower for the SSE Electricity League winners from next season. UEFA have changed the qualification rules to guarantee the top 4 sides from Spain, England, Germany and Italy places in the group stages. The top 2 in France and Russia are also guaranteed group spots. That leaves the League of Ireland champions as one of 41 sides competing for just 4 group places via the Champions route. UEFA have also scrapped the traditional 7:45 kickoff time for Champions League matches, and from next season games will instead be staggered each evening, starting at either 5:55 and 8 o'clock.
Very interesting move, this.
I think it's a brilliant move.
Will you make more money now or less money?
Looking forward to you guys both get by location of Dave McIntyre in one evening.
Well, I don't think it makes much of a difference given that you can only do one game a night.
Well, it depends where you're doing it from, I suppose, but go on.
True. You could be at the Etihad and just leg it up the road then for the 8 o'clock kickoff.
Yeah, that's good. It's a good point.
But particularly if it extends to the knockout stages, this time of year you're cursing the fact that you can't watch whether it's Real PSG the first same night that Liverpool are in action, for example. Obviously you can record it, but it's not the same. But to be able to sit down of an evening, get yourself home from work depending on what you're at for 6 o'clock, convince the powers that be in the house that you can watch 2 games back to back, put the kids to bed between the 2 of them. I think this is a great development.
I mean, football saturation continues, but there'll be nights where this is brilliant.
Where it will be very interesting, and I know it's something that's been discussed in the show many times in the last couple of years, is what it means to broadcasting rights.
What's your best guess?
Well, obviously over the last number of years, you've had TV3 have had first choice on a Tuesday evening, RT likewise on a Wednesday evening, and Air Sport, or formerly Setanta, would have had the next pick on both nights. But do UEFA decide now that they can sell exclusive rights to a larger number of broadcasters? So you could have broadcaster A will have exclusive rights on a Tuesday and or Wednesday to the 6 o'clock game, or is it 5:55? 5:55, yeah. Broadcaster B will have exclusive rights to the 8 o'clock game on a Tuesday and Wednesday. It's a way for UEFA, I think, to make even more money.
Home and away fans are cursing their luck tonight, though.
Well, yes. It does mean that when this is announced next month, I think it's next month, there's going to be an awful lot of interest around it.
Okay. There's FA Cup 6th round action tonight. Both Pat Nevin and Kevin Kilbane are at this game.
They are indeed. A 5th round replay is in fact placing the 6th round on offer at the Liberty Stadium, with Swansea and Sheffield Wednesday going at it again after a drab go round a couple of weeks ago. A home tie against either Tottenham or Rochdale awaits the winners. Kick-off is at 8:05 and it's on the telly. Sheffield United will end tonight in the Championship playoff places if they win away to Yapstam's Reading, while fellow strugglers Hull and Barnsley, they meet at the KCOM. And the Premier League is moving closer to getting a winter break. The FA, Premier League and the Football League have reached a provisional agreement which would leave the first 2 weeks in February free. To facilitate the break, the FA Cup 5th round would be played entirely in midweek with no replays. The new arrangement could be brought in for the 2019-20 season.
Lads, I used to train indoors in a treadmill in the States during winter when it was very cold. I was doing 3:30 pace per kilometre repeats. Fair enough. says this listener. On a treadmill, when a woman on the treadmill next to me dropped her towel, it went in under my feet. It was like a landmine. I got flung across the floor, burnt the knees out of me. Major cringe factors. LOL from an avid female listener. That sounds like no fun. By the way, world record marathon pace is 4:50 per mile.
Right.
So
what's that on a treadmill?
I don't know. I mean, that can't be far off 18, 19, God, 26 miles.
26 miles.
It is insane, actually. You know.
For any of our listeners that have time on their hands, they should go onto YouTube and find Nathan and Adrian being fired off the back of a treadmill.
That's gold.
What pace was it up
They'll
to?
probably find me, my terrible attempt at a dive at the time, up there as well, somewhere alongside on the same off the ball page. But we were doing something for, I can't remember what it was for, but Adrian slipped off the back of his treadmill, reached out in desperation for some assistance.
And took Murphy.
Wow,
that says everything you need to know about Barry. In fairness.
The injury situation regarding Neymar became muddier today. The Brazilian forward suffered a fractured metatarsals. It's been a while since we had one of them, and a sprained ankle in Paris Saint-Germain's League One win over Marseille on Sunday evening. The expected recovery time for his collated injuries will be 2 to 3 months, but PSG head coach Unai Emery said today that Neymar could still feature in next Tuesday's Champions League second leg with Real Madrid. To add to the mix, Rodrigo Lasmar is heading for Paris to keep tabs on the situation. He's the Brazilian team doctor. Former Arsenal midfielder Edu is the Brazilian Football Federation's technical director, and he's been explaining the decision to keep such a close eye on Neymar.
Let's wait what Paris Saint-Germain are going to say. So what we have to do is just to be next to Neymar and next to the Paris Saint-Germain. And when the doctors, when the Paris Saint-Germain tell us what they're going to do, we have to respect, and then we're going to make a decision when they finish all the situation. No, we cannot think about the World Cup yet. We just have to think in Neymar. We have to think about our preparation. We have to think about our friendly games, what we have in March. So for the World Cup, we have time to think about as well.
And the team doctor from Brazil has gone to Paris.
He's there just to follow what's happening, but the decision is from Paris.
Okay. That is us done for this evening for the news round. Short break. We're bringing you the thoughts of Joe Schmidt earlier today next.
Off the ball on News Talk. Moncrief.
Phil says, it started snowing in New Ross. It's unbelievable, Phil says. Be afraid, people. It might actually stop then as well, Phil, because it did actually snow here a few times as well. But like little flurries. It was kind of half-assed now. It's trying, but I don't know. I don't know if it has it in it.
Moncrief.
With Gas Networks Ireland.
Back tomorrow on News Talk.